Hey guys, it's Bradley with the Insurance Guys Podcast. You know, over the past year that we've been recording this podcast, Scott and I have met some amazing individuals and received some amazing advice. So we decided to do something for our audience that may or may not be able to listen to every single episode. We put together a white paper / ebook of the top 7 things that you must do in your agency in 2018 and 2019. We're giving this to you guys free as of right now. You can text the word book, BOOK, to 251-418-4724. Follow the prompts and you will promptly receive that book. Or you can email me at bradley@saralandinsurance.com. That's not going to be automated like the text, but you can receive it that way as well.
Insurance agents from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys Podcast, hosted by yours truly, Scott Howell, and the incomparable Bradley Flowers. For agents, by agents, we're here to share real-life experiences, tips, and insights related to all aspects of both being an insurance agent and running a successful agency. So sit back, turn up the volume, and let's get down to business. Insurance agents from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys Podcast. My name is Scott Howell, your fearless host and leader with I Protect Insurance and Financial Services based out of Huntsville, Alabama. Before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome. He is a 6'3" sophomore, Parade All-American Rivals first team 5-star recruit. He is a fantastic insurance agent and a great American. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the incomparable Mr. Bradley Flowers. How are you, Bradley?
You get better and better and better every time you do that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Guys, our mission on this podcast today and every day is we want to help you agents in any way we can. Sales, marketing, digital, consulting, networking, you name it, we want to help you do it. We've talked about a lot of stuff this last week, and I'm excited to have our guest on that we have on today. I'm very excited, actually. He is an author of 6 books. He is the author of a book that I've actually read called Power Position Your Agency. He has been a farmer's agent since 1983. He's a consultant in global marketing strategies for some of the world's largest insurance carriers, and he is a subject matter expert in technology related to insurance carrier workflows. He is living in Visalia, California. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the other incomparable Mr. Troy Korsgaden. How you doing, Troy?
Awesome. Thanks for having me here today, guys. Appreciate it.
Man, we are excited and fired up about having you on the show today. We have got a lot to talk about, but before we get into that, I want you to get in your DeLorean, and I want you to go back in time to a place where you had just gotten started in the insurance business. Tell us how you got started, and then bring us up to today.
That's a great question. I started back in 1983. Like the kid that my company gave me a big old book of business called the phone book. So I got my license. I was young. I was dumb. My manager, Jay Green, greatest manager that ever walked on earth, said, "Hey, kid, if you'll call everybody in this phone book here in town and ask them for an X date, from the X date you'll get an appointment. From the appointment you'll give a presentation. You do it enough time, and I guarantee you, kid, doing it enough times, you're going to sell some insurance." And he was right. But my first 7 years in the business went up and down and up and down. And Bradley, I know you and Scott have both read Power Position Your Agency. If you've read that book, you know I had an epiphany my 7th year in the business, and the light bulb went off, and everything changed for me then. And it's just been straight up from there on.
I think it's fantastic that you are the author of that book. I told Bradley when he told me you wrote it, I said, hell, I've read that book. And he said, I know. I think everybody's read that book. Let's talk a little bit today. I had a number of things I want to talk about. As I said earlier, our mission on this podcast is to help the 250,000 insurance agents that listen to this podcast in any way that we possibly can. I have so many things I'd like to talk to you about because I do consider you a thought leader in the insurance business. You have immersed yourself in it for a long time. And I just want to kind of talk through a number of things, and I'm going to bounce around a little bit today. I normally don't do that. I normally take a topic, I stick with it, and we kind of carry that through for an hour. But today I want to bounce around a little bit with you because I feel like from having your finger on the pulse mentality that you probably have a pretty good understanding of where we are currently in terms of P&C as far as insurance agents go and where this thing's headed in the future. So I guess my first question to you is, as we sit here today, September 20th of 2018, where do you see the P&C business, let's say 10 years, 15 years from now?
Man, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
So let me just start by saying this. Thanks for the comments. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I have had the good fortune of being behind the curtain in just about every major carrier
That's
in America.
That's why I'm asking the questions I'm asking.
Yeah, and we're all in the same ball game, as a friend of mine used to tell me. He says, "Kid, we're all in the same ball game. It's just that some of us are in a different inning."
Right.
And here's what I like to tag on to what my friend said. There's no time for a seventh inning stretch.
Right.
We're now at an inflection point. We're now in a place where you have to be in the game. Mm-hmm. And I still think it's an awesome game. I still think there's multiple opportunities in different areas of our business, and I think you just need to capitalize on it. So let me just answer the question by saying this. I don't think we need to look out 10 years. I think we need to look out 1 year and 3 years. Mm-hmm. And beyond that, you're going to see some of the most rapid change in the industry, both property and casualty, financial services, and overall distribution of insurance and financial services products that we've ever seen, ever, in the history of our business.
And so when you talk about that, kind of drill down a little bit and just give us a peek behind the curtain as to what the expectation of what you just said should be, in terms of change. Well,
I like the saying, the philosopher says change is automatic, mm-hmm. but progress is not. Mm-hmm. So things change. People die, people get sick, businesses come, businesses go. But if you really want to progress, you got to be intentional, right? You got to mm-hmm. be on the offense. And being on the defense is no fun. Right. So in my latest book, Discussion Partner, that came out last week, I really talk about the customer in the book, and the customer now is truly in control. Mm-hmm. The industry used to tell the customer, "Oh, you're the center of everything, you're the most important," but we still told them when to buy, mm-hmm. how to buy, what mm-hmm. kind of payments. Yeah, they weren't making any decisions. We were telling them they were. Yeah. But we're living in an Amazon world, right? And so the customer truly is empowered. The customer truly knows that they hold all the keys to the kingdom. And so, therefore, if I were going to say there's one mind shift, that is to put the customer at the center of everything you do in your local agency, whether you own it as a business or whether you're working in it in the business. Mm-hmm. You need to put the customer at the center of everything that you do, period.
And you reverse engineer it back. What do they
Correct.
Want, and then figure out how you're going to do it.
Exactly. And part of that is really getting it across to them. And I think my sister Sharon, who's my office partner, her husband Mike, who handles the commercial division, we've got family here, but we've also got a load of other employees. We're a specialized agency in business insurance, auto, home, life insurance. Sharon does financial services. We do health. We do it all, okay? Mm-hmm. But there are some things we can't do. And those things we can't do, we can't just say, we don't do that. We got to go find a place for people to get their protection and to get their asset accumulation, even when we don't get a commission, even when we don't offer the product because our carrier that we have a contract with doesn't offer it. Whatever the situation, it's just what does the customer need and how can you facilitate that? And then you truly become a multi-line agent.
Yeah, let me say this to the 250,000 agents listening to this, and I've said this for a long time. I grew up in a small town called Hamilton, Alabama, and most people in Alabama, a lot of people in Alabama don't even know where Hamilton, Alabama is.
I don't know where it is.
About 5,000 people, about an hour south of Florence, Alabama, and 45 minutes due east of Tupelo, Mississippi. And there are literally hundreds of these small towns all over the state of Alabama, and I've always told people, if I was going to live in a small town like Hamilton and have an insurance agency, I don't care if somebody brought their watch in to get fixed or their lawnmower repaired or needed their taxes done. In those little towns, the way that you actually do well and make money is you diversify yourself and you become kind of a jack of all trades and master of none. Now, in my agency, we pride ourselves on, in the state of Alabama, Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the 800-pound gorilla, and you cannot compete with Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And with the exception of Alpha Insurance, and Bradley can talk a little more about this later, nobody that I know really sells life insurance. And even what you guys take an application for is Blue Cross and Blue Shield insurance, right? It's not
health insurance, yeah.
Right. So I have people call me 3 or 4 times a week in my office, and they'll say, "Hey, I need some health insurance. Do you sell health insurance?" "No, I don't, but let me send you the number for Individual Blue for the state of Alabama." Now, a lot of people would just say, "No, I don't. We don't sell health insurance," and hang the phone up. But we always are trying to help our clients, even when maybe we don't do something. We try to help them anyway get to where they need to be. Does that make sense?
Sure does. What a great example. And let me just kind of tag on to what you're saying. We script everything here in the office. We have for years. Ad libs are for amateurs, the great Gary Kinder used to say.
I love that.
And Gary's a great guy and a friend. But all pros practice. And if you're going to practice, you got to have a script. Yeah. So in your scenario that you have, let me give you a script. This is $1 million script if you're out there listening.
Okay.
I'm glad you called. That's why we're here.
I love that so much. I'm going to get that. Guys, listen, insurance agents, he is spitting gold right now. Get a damn pen and paper out and write that down. Write it down 3 times. That is an amazing. And sometimes in life, the best things are the simplest things. And Troy, there's an old country saying in the state of Alabama, and I'm going to tell it to everybody on this podcast right now. There's a grandmother that was about 87 years old one time. She looked at me and she said, plain speak is best understood.
Yes.
And that say that one more time. I was actually writing that down and I got so excited I started talking. I apologize. I'm glad
that never happens.
I'm glad you called. That's why we're here.
Now let me say this.
Yeah.
Now that is an abbreviated version of what I do every single time somebody calls my office, and if I happen to be there and I hear one of my agency staff say, Joe Smuckatelli's on the phone and he wants a homeowner's quote, I'll stand up and I'll say, let me talk to him first. And I get him on the phone, and the very first thing I say to people when they call, or maybe I just pick up the phone and they're calling to get a quote, I'll say, thank you so much for calling. We were just sitting here waiting on you to call.
I totally believe that you do that.
Oh,
too.
1,000,000% I do that. And you would not believe people that instantly just start laughing when I say it. We were just all sitting around here waiting on you to call. So, and it just, but what you're saying, I'm glad you called. That's why we're here. Is that it?
And it is why we're here, because what they want is just the title of the book. They want a discussion partner. Hey, most of the people we deal with, I don't care whether you're from Alabama or you're from Visalia, whether you're from San Francisco or Little Rock, or whether you're from Manhattan, most people are smart people.
Right.
They can figure stuff out, right?
Right.
It may not be it may be clunky, but they'll figure it out because they're smart. Now, what they want, though, is somebody to hold their hand and reassure them they made the right decision.
Right.
Because it can be disastrous if you make the wrong decision. So the discussion partner is all about being that person that they rely on to reassure them or to give them different ways to think about things as they go about protection and asset accumulation.
Colby Juvenville said one time, the basis of trust is safety, which is that reassurance that we're talking about right now. People aren't going to trust you till they feel safe around you.
Right.
So anyway, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to let you guys go on and ask questions. I got more script, or what we call power phrases, because that really is it. There's no magic script. There's no magic bullet. It really is a belief system, a philosophy, and then just little things that you say that get people to take action.
Absolutely.
And I can discuss any of those that you want. Doesn't matter what line of insurance. But again, we're looking at serving households and businesses, and that's the discussion partner. It is making sure that everything comes through us, a gateway to all things insurance and financial services.
I tell you what I'd like for you to do, because I want these agents to be able to write some of this down. I love that. I'm glad you called. That's why we're here. Give us a couple more power phrases, and you can give us one or two for life insurance, and give us a couple more maybe for property and casualty. I love these so much.
I'm going to give you what I consider $1 million power phrases. They make things happen.
Right.
Action. Okay. So a couple of things that we do is we make sure that we infuse that will be easy into our conversation. So the person says, I'm buying a home. I'm glad you called. That's why we're here. I need to ask you a few questions. It'll be easy. And then the next line is that we infuse is, I know you're busy. I know you're really busy, but it's important that I set some personal time up for you to come in to meet with Sharon. I want her to go over all your coverages, including this new property that you've got, to make sure you're properly covered. We want to make sure you don't have any gaps in your coverage. We want to make sure you're not overcovered or undercovered, right? And we want to make sure you're getting all the discounts you deserve. You do want all the discounts you deserve, correct?
Of course.
Yeah. So the key phrases here, though, is that'll be easy because, man, life is complicated, right? I quit turning on the news when I wake up in the morning. You know why? Because it's a drag.
Negative.
Yeah. I want to know what's going on. Don't get me wrong. But I don't need it 24/7 because there's enough drama in life with your friend, with your in-laws, your spouse. It doesn't matter. There's just drama in life. It's just the way life goes. So you don't need to invite more in. Now, the other thing is people are busy. They're busier today. Computers were supposed to make our life easier. They didn't.
Right.
Okay? They sped it up, put gas on it. So he's busy, she's busy. One of the things I talk about in my live seminars is, hey, don't try to get both the husband and wife in. I don't care whether you're from a town of 5,000, 50,000, or 5 million. Both people don't make insurance decisions. He cuts the grass, she does the dishes. She takes the kids to school, he picks them up. She pays the bills and usually decides on what type of insurance they're going to have. Now, sometimes, about 20% or less, they both make the decision together. But overall, one person takes the lead and then informs the other person of what they're going to do. They're busy. So I never get the busy objection. Haven't gotten it for 25 years. You know why? I already told them they were busy. That one ain't going to work.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Troy, let me ask you a question. Do you guys sell insurance over the phone in your office, or do you try to get every person in the office before you bind coverage?
So we like to get them into the office.
Me
now,
too.
I'm from a town, just let me give you a little demographics. When I came to Visalia as a 5-year-old, my daddy brought us here. And when he brought us here, he happened to die. And it was a bummer, but he died 6 months later. And my mom raised 5 kids all by herself in a small town. 40,000 people in California is not a lot. Today it's 110,000 people, so it's grown. But it's still small by California standards. It's not San Francisco. It's not L.A. And so, it truly is considered an agricultural town. You've all heard of Sun-Made Raisins?
Of course.
That's 15 minutes from my house.
Awesome.
Okay?
Troy, I have a goat.
He does.
I have a goat.
He does.
And my goat's favorite food in the world, and he would do anything for these, is Sun-Made Raisins. That is a true story I'm telling you right now.
When I drive by there, and I drive by every time I go to the airport, when I drive by there, I'll blow a kiss over there for you.
Absolutely.
But we're from the ag area. I mean, you've heard of sun-kissed oranges. You've heard of all these other fruits and nuts, diamond walnuts and whatnot. That's all around me. We're an agricultural area here, so we're a small town. And my big issue is not how big your town is or how small it is, because the biggest agents come from the smallest towns, because you can celebritize yourself better. But you can still celebritize yourself in Manhattan. You can do it in Chicago, where I was last week. You can do it in any town if you have a celebritization plan.
So I completely agree with what you're saying about celebritizing yourself in a small town. Bradley, I think you've done a pretty deadgum good job of that down here in Mobile.
Thank you.
There's not many folks in Mobile that don't know who you are.
Thank you.
Now, they may not do insurance business with you.
That's okay.
But they know who you are. So I completely agree.
I'm very nonchalant in the way I sell. It's like, hey, you can buy it from me or you don't. It's fine.
Exactly.
I know what I'm offering is the best option for you. But
right.
Anyway.
So Troy, let's change gears just a little bit. I had some other things that I wanted to discuss with you, but before I get into that, I don't want to run out of time before I'm able to discuss the book Discussion Partner with you. I have not read the book yet, as I told you before we got on the podcast. Bradley has read the book, but I'd like for you to just talk through a little bit about what it's about and how it can help the insurance agents listening to this program today.
You bet. So the book is called Discussion Partner, A Radical Transformation to Unrivaled Service in the Insurance Industry. So, what we used to think is great service, it doesn't fly anymore. People have a high expectation, and they have zero tolerance, for defects, zero tolerance for things that take too much time. So the book is really about transforming your customer service capabilities, but understanding that, hey, we don't create revenue, we don't put money in our pocket unless we sell. But we lead with service. That's what the book is about, leading with service. Giving such great service that you earn the right to put more products into every household or business that you do business with. Now, I keep saying household and businesses because when I first started, we did a little bit of business insurance. Now, it's a major part of our practice. Business insurance, man, I'm telling you, when they give you the business insurance, then they give you everything else because now you're insuring their money machine. And then they give you the life insurance, and that's another money machine protection, right? And once you get that, then so you're high on their autos 20, 30, 40, 50%. They're more apt to give it to you if you have the big kahuna, the business and the life insurance. So the book is about just giving such great service. You don't have to sell. Right. They just want to do business with you. So, we all got into the multi-line business at some point, right? If you're a life-only agent and you're listening, you still sold life, disability, long-term care, health insurance. That's multi-line. If you are a property and casualty agent, like I started out, we offered life insurance, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Now the product suite at some companies is as many as 50 to 100 products that they offer. Okay? So they've all had this fantasy, the carriers, that everybody would buy everything from them, and that was the true multi-line experience. And we know for a fact, the more policies you have in a household or business, the better the retention. Still a fact.
Yep.
Okay? But here's what I'm looking for, is control of the household or the business. Control. Meaning they don't make a decision without me. And that means sometimes, if you brought up earlier, when we talked earlier about helicopter insurance, and I talk about airplanes, or I might talk about a nuclear bomb factory. Hey, I've never insured one of those, but it's my job to find you somebody who can help us.
Boy, I'd like to see the premium on that.
Yeah. So the crux of the book is just that. Give such great service, you earn the right to have every product and service represented by your agency, whether you're making money on every product or service or not. And then I go into technology because technology is important to me personally. It's been a big part of my consulting practice. But I also believe technology done right, done easy, can help us be more productive. And I want all my team members, the people that I'm paying payroll to, I want them to be more productive.
Right.
Productive capacity is one of the major keys to success in our business. That's having the right people, have them trained correctly, have them with the right technology, and giving the type of service our clients deserve and have every right to expect.
I completely agree with everything you're saying right now. I do have another question for you that I've noticed traveled all over the country this year, literally all over the country. Just got back from 7 days in San Diego, going back in November to Mike Stromso's sales boot camp down in November. In San Diego. But one of the things I've noticed from going to different meetings with different carriers and seeing different things out there, it seems like we as the agency force, with social media being what it is and the fact that everyone has a cell phone surgically attached to their hand now, it almost feels to me like guys like Bradley Flowers, who is pretty damn strong on the social media front and just bombarding people with his videos and pictures and all the stuff he has. Will the carriers ever be able to catch up with us in terms of that?
I love your questioning. And the answer is, yeah, if they want to. They can.
Well, I mean, they've got a lot more money than we do. That's for sure.
They don't make it a priority, though.
Here's the thing. Some do, some don't, and everybody has some type of social media department or focus, if you will, or what I call prioritization is one of the keys to success. So looking at that, I go reverse engineering, and I look and say, what makes Bradley special? Well, it's him. Okay?
Right.
So the company can have an awesome social media program. The carrier can have an awesome claims program. They can have an awesome delivery and technology. We're living in an omni-channel world. If you want me to go into that, I'll go into it. But really, people often ask me, because I do a lot of live stuff, and they'll come up to me and go, do you think we're even going to be around a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And the answer is yes. Everybody is either being born or they're dying. So we're constantly retooling. Is the opportunity great for us? Yeah, I'd get out. I got all the money I need. I love being in insurance. It's fun still. When it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. But it's still profitable, too. Is it easy? No. But your question is a good question, but that isn't the only area you want to focus on, because if Bradley is awesome at social media, and he is, okay, and I connect with him on several different formats, but let's just take one social media, and he's the best at it. That isn't going to make a living for him.
Right.
He's still got to be a member of the chamber. He's still got to be a member of his worship. He's still out there, and the people he hires have to interconnect in the community with a different style and a different way. They all have to have the same values. We have agency values.
It's just another facet. It's all the, like you talk about, all the little things that add up.
Well, basically what you want to be is Coca-Cola. You want to be omnipresent. You want to be at everything. You want to be on social. You want to do that. I tell people all the time, because they'll say, well, what part of your marketing budget, what works the best for you? And I say, none of it. It all just works together. It's a symbiotic relationship. I have billboards at major intersections of highways. I do social media. I go to the events. It all works together. None of it works by itself. That's just always been my approach to marketing.
Agree completely. But let's just all agree as we move forward, we got to be ready to deliver. So you can have a great presence in social media, and it doesn't work for you.
Right.
So, at the end of the day, we got to have a lot of lines in the water, and I think that's what you're saying. I'm just rephrasing it.
Absolutely.
We got a lot of lines in the water, but to catch fish, we got to make sure we're not getting our lines tangled. We got to be ready, and we got to deliver when the client wants us to deliver service first, and then sales. And the sales come. Right. I mean, I'm living proof of it, because I'm not that smart. Okay. But if you give great service, people just want to be around you. People buy from people they know and trust.
Absolutely. Tell me about the Omni challenge, the Omni challenge that you spoke about earlier.
Okay, so the Omni channel has been around for quite some time. That retailers have been using it, right? I like to use the example of Macy's, right? If I win a trip at the insurance company and I tell my wife, I say, "Hey, honey, we just won a trip. Where are we going? We're going to Hawaii." First thing your spouse is going to do, husband, wife, they're going to go start buying new clothes for the trip, right? Because you got to have a new tux. If you're a guy, you got to have a new gown. If you're female, and as you're getting ready to go on this trip, oh man, I need some cocktail dresses. I need some beachwear. I need this and that. So we get on the internet. And we go to Macy's.com, we just start looking at everything, and now your spouse has 5 boxes delivered to your house. And you're a little bit frightened, but you bring them in. And she comes out, she says, I like these 2 things, the rest of it's going back. And I'm like saying a prayer of thanks that it's going back. And she says, hey, let's go on down to the mall. I'm going to return the stuff to Macy's. I'm thinking, man, this is so awesome. It's going to go back quicker. It'll get my credit card. So she walks up, and she says, hey, I want to return these items. They didn't work out. No questions asked. The woman just clicks. And she says, would you like this to go back on your American Express? And the answer is, of course. Okay? Mm-hmm. And they go ahead and they click it, and I got a credit popping on my phone, right? But then she says the magic words. While you're in the store, would you like to look at some other items? No. The spouse says, I'm pretty private. I don't like to try on clothes in front of people. Oh, we've got a private dressing room behind the dressing room. And if you like, we've got a personal shopper at no charge. Okay? Oh, man. Okay? you leave the store, and now you're glad you brought 2 cars because you got twice as much stuff that came through the internet. It could be a call center. It could be the internet. It could be texting. It could be lead management. It could be anything, anywhere, anyhow, anytime the client wants it. It's all about the client. They enter in one way, but you notice how the agent and the spouse ended up at Macy's in person. So it was easy to do business. It was easy. But then when it came to taking it back, I'll just take it back. But then there's the pivot while you're here, okay?
Troy,
that's the channel.
Troy, talk a little bit about, you mentioned some technology that you guys use to make you more efficient in your office. Talk a little bit about that some more.
So a lot of the stuff that you use and a lot of the stuff that I use and the other agents that are listening, whether they're all here in the States or they're overseas, everybody uses a plethora of technologies. There is no one platform, one technology today that any carrier has. They're all on a mission to get the best technology. As an agent, I've always separated my consulting business from the agency in that I look at the voids that I have in serving my customers, and if my carrier can provide it for free, of course I want it for free. If they don't, I got to have a workaround. So some of these technologies have been from looking to see when your staff signs onto the computer. That was a big one for me in the day. What they were looking at, how long they spent on something, whether it was putting an app in, whether it was education, whether it was going offline into something I didn't want them to go into. And so without naming technology, you get the idea. It's basically they know that we're watching their computer and we're just trying to monitor their productivity. With that being said, there's everything from productivity tools to measure how many people they're talking to, how many leads they generate, how many suspects turned into prospects, how many prospects turned into an actual presentation, how many presentations turned into a sale, how many sales turned into commission, how much the commission was per policy, per household business. And every person is drilled down in the agency. So if I got 2 people, I'm drilling down on me and the 2 people. If I've got 10 people, I'm drilling down on me and the 10 people. Everybody, and I'm going to repeat this, but let me say it quick the first time. Everybody must be a profit center. If they're not a profit center, they're a cost center. And if they're a cost center, business can't afford them. Right. I don't care whether you're a billion-dollar business. If you're a carrier and you're listening to this, your business can't afford a cost center. There's no business on earth today that can just throw money out in the street. And if I'm a business owner in a local community, it's even harder, right? There's less money to deal with. It's harder to hide the problems and the sins of my mistakes. So I've got to have real-time data. And data analytics, you can write this down, helps us to make everybody a profit center. Because if they're not a profit center, they will be a cost center. And if they're a cost center, it doesn't matter how many millions in commissions I do. I can't afford it because I could take that money and give it to somebody who needs it as a charity. Or I could give that money to a new employee, like the one sitting outside my door here in the agency. When I'm here in the office, they always put the new person outside my door because they want them to hear me. They want them to see how I work, my sense of urgency. So I don't remember what the question was, but that was a heck of an answer.
Yeah, it was. So data analytics helping everyone become a profit center. Drill down into that. How do you turn a CSR that a lot of these agents listening to this have working for them that maybe doesn't write insurance, but you want to try to turn that person into a profit center for you? How do you accomplish that?
So the first thing is your philosophy. We talked about that early on here. What is your philosophy? So my philosophy is everybody's got to be a profit center. If they're not, they're a cost center, and I can't afford it. That's one piece of it. The other piece is everybody is in sales.
Right.
Not everybody's sales. So out of 15, 20 people in the office here, not everybody is a salesperson. But everybody is either a salesperson or they're a sales contributor. Now, what do I mean by sales contributor? That means that you may be the greatest pre-underwriter. You may be the quickest at putting an app in the computer. You may be the best at setting an appointment, and you're not selling, but you are contributing to sales. So we have a little form in our office. and it's called I Was Productive Today. And I can send that to you if you want to put it up on your website.
Absolutely. Please
Yes.
do.
It's very simple. Okay, I was productive today because I did one of three things. Okay, it's a very small form that has to be filled out on every call, on every client interaction, whether they come into the office, whether it's over the phone, whether it's text. It doesn't matter to me. I communicate the way the client wants to communicate, and I want to know three things when the phone hangs up. Number one, I gave a presentation, and I got a check and a signature. That's a sale, right?
Right.
Number two, I set an appointment for a presentation, which leads to a sale. Or number three, I got information on an X date, an event, something that triggered, we call them triggers, and we put these into the computer, that triggers us to give them a call just in time to talk to them. So I got to do one of those three things if I'm working for Troy, or I'm working for Scott, or I'm working for Bradley, or anybody that's listening. They got to do one of those three things every time. And Tom, that's worked in the agency 10 years, or Sally goes, I don't want to do that. We never used to have to do that. Well, you know what? There's a lot of stuff I don't want to do in my life. The world's changed, and I need you to do this. This is not complicated. You're either giving a presentation, you're setting an appointment, or you're getting information. The one with the most information wins. So going back to data analytics, you're going to hear a lot about artificial intelligence, and I'm big on that. You're going to hear a lot about data mining. And as you look at all this data-driven stuff that's coming to the carriers, don't get faked out. Only look at the stuff that makes a difference to you. Those three things I mentioned, those are the three most important. Now, I can go down further. How many leads did you put in? I can count that. That's a benchmark. How many did you set up at what we call a sequential marketing program, a SMP, to trickle down and follow up on that person? Drip marketing, call it whatever you want. Call it a ham sandwich, okay? I don't care. Am I touching that client 7 times a year, whether they're a prospect or a current client? If I'm touching them 7 times a year, I'm top of mind.
Exactly.
The next time they think of buying something, who are they going to think of first? Okay? But I got to have a way to do that. So your question is great. We could talk all day. And if we set up another call, maybe that's what we want to talk about, is data mining, data gathering, cutting and slicing the data that matters. Because really, the client doesn't care how much data you have. What are you going to do for me? How are you going to protect me? And how are you going to serve me?
So I want to change gears completely on you for just a second. I told you I was going to bounce all over the place.
You know it.
Tell me your thoughts on Amazon entering the insurance market in India.
So I talk about Amazon in a different way in the book.
Okay.
So let me answer it. As usual, I'll answer this a couple different ways, but keep me honest and make sure I answer completely to your satisfaction. Okay. First off, it's an Amazon world. And I buy from Amazon. Not everything, but I buy from Amazon. And they've done a lot of things that are pretty awesome. And so you can't deny their success, and you can't deny the fact that they've got great analytics. And I can just tell you, when you go behind the curtain at Google, go behind the curtain at Amazon, it's real. This is not like make-believe stuff. They're living it, okay? So when I say that, I don't care who goes into the business. Amazon can go into the business. You know what? This is golf for me, okay? Unless they outlaw insurance.
Right.
I'm going to figure out where my place is. And today, my place is giving great service. Are things going to change a year from now, 3 years from now? I guarantee you, if you're listening to this, if you're one of the 250,000 people, write this down. Troy says there's a tsunami of change happening today. Not a year from now, not 3 years from now. It's happening today. Am I afraid? No. Am I excited? Yeah. Great opportunity. So they can sell insurance in India, and they did it over there, in my opinion, because they wanted to get it right before they started doing it other places.
Yep.
We all know we're going to get into insurance. Hey, look, I was listening to a podcast the other day on something totally different. I'd give the guy credit if I could remember who it was. But the guy just said, hey, Amazon conditioned everybody to buy toys from Toys R Us through Amazon, and now where's Toys R Us?
That would have been Gary Vaynerchuk that said that.
Okay, Gary. Yeah, and so he was right.
Yep.
But am I afraid of that? No. Hey, look at I'm familiar, Bradley, with your company. I'm familiar with my company. I'm familiar with companies that we all know. I could name them all, and they're all listening today. They all have the right intentions. But my manager told me something back in 1983 that stuck with me for the rest of my life. Kid, only worry about the things that you can control. What I mean by that is I can't control the overall rate. I can't control the overall claim service. I can't control blah, blah, blah. But I can guarantee that my client is going to know I got the best rate, the best policy, the best claims experience, the best everything from what the marketplace bears.
Right.
Because that's my promise to them.
I love that so much. Well, I could sit here and continue to talk for 3 hours. I think we're going to have to wrap this podcast up here in just a few minutes. But before we get off the phone, I guess to summarize kind of what we've talked about today, I believe, if I'm correct, that you said, yes, there is a tsunami of change coming, and the best thing that we as agents can do is, number one, focus on the client, focus on our customers, and number two, focus on being the best at what matters the most to those customers. Would you agree with that?
I think you hit it spot on.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, man, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you being on this podcast. Troy, I want to have you on again in some upcoming episodes, maybe around the Christmas time frame, because I could literally sit here and talk to you for 4 hours. And I think having someone like you on this podcast, when I have people on the podcast, the first thing I ask myself when we hang up the phone with them is, did we give some great information to agents that are out there? Because that's what we're here for.
Right.
And I believe we did that today, and I think we did that with this podcast. And when I hear people like you talk, and it makes me want to have you on again, because I literally could sit here for 4 hours and just pepper you with questions and let you talk about them.
Really appreciate it, Troy.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and close this thing out. Guys, remember this. Rewards come from action, not discussion. Get your ass out from behind that desk and go sell some insurance today. Go sell it for you and your family. Go make money for your family. Write good business for the agencies that you represent. Go write good business for the companies that you represent. Bradley Flowers, I love you.
Love you too, buddy.
Hey, Troy, have a great day. Guys, you are listening to the Insurance Guys podcast. We'll see you back real soon.
Thanks, Troy.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Insurance Guys podcast. If you need to know more about me or you need to get in touch with Scott, you can always reach me at theinsuranceguyonline.com or email me at iprotectins@gmail.com. And if you need to get in touch with Mr. Bradley Flowers, go to bradleyflowersinsurance.com or email him at bradley@saralandinsurance.com. Guys, we love you. Thank you so much for listening. We look forward to being with you again real soon on the next episode of The Insurance Guys. Take care.